Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who wrote well. And also honor and salutations to those of you who are the hopeful elect and are out there teaching the word of sincerity and truth. Alright, so today I wanted to talk about world domination and the perks that come with it, which is having slaves, right, and having rulership over the people of the earth. Because contrary to belief, the kingdom of heaven is going to be in similitude to the other kingdoms that have been on the earth, right? The scriptures say on earth as it is in heaven, right? Meaning that when we rule, right, when our rulership is come, it's going to be here on earth the same way the other nations when they ruled and they had their rulership on earth, right? And that rulership, right, is the rule of a nation over the other nations of the world, right? Because people talk about the kingdom of heaven, like they they think of the kingdom of heaven in a picture as the way America looks, which is just a bunch of different people from different nations, and we're all in love with each other, and there's peace and harmony. Which there will be peace and harmony, and there will be love, but that is going to be under one rule, right? And ultimately, that rule is going to be the Lord Yahweh Shai, and not only the Lord Yahweh Shai, but His nation is going to rule the world. We'll have slaves. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, right? Because I think I've had this conversation before, and I've said this before, that people seem to think that the let me see if I'm using this word the right way. I'm gonna say this. Okay, so I'm not using it the right way. I'll say the way I use it is this way. So the 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 purpose, right, of the so-called white man is no different than any of the other rulers that have ruled on the earth, right? Their purpose was to rule as much of the earth as they could and cause that the rest of the earth live the way they live, right? And pay tribute unto them, right? That's always been anyone who's ruled. That's always been the case, right? America has done a great job, or I'll say, Edom in this kingdom has done a great job of making it look like he's allowing the rest of the world to have its own sovereignty, right? But really, the whole world is under the rule of Edom, right? Because you can look at it like this. On one side, you got Russia, which is a really big continent, right? And it used to be, the Soviet Union, but now they've come together again under one power, which is Russia, right? And then all its allies. And then you have on the other side, you got the NATO and the EU, right? Which is also an Edomite rulership, right? So the whole world, right? When you take a broader look at it, is ruled by the nation of Edom. Now there's different factions, like I mentioned. You got Russia on one side, NATO and the EU on the other side, but the whole world, right, is ruled by Edomite power, right? So you can call this world that we live in, or this time that we live in, the kingdom of Edom. Just like the powers before Edom ruled, they ruled the whole known world, right? You had the Babylonians, of course, right? Then you had, after them, you had the Persians and Medes, right? And then after them, you had the Greeks, and and then the Romans, right? But then when you look at the Greeks and Romans, you can really sew those two together, right? Because they even history they'll say the Greco-Roman Empire, right? So you can sew those two together because from the time of the Greeks until now, Edom has surmounted power, more and more power. Now again, they've had different factions and called themselves different names, but ultimately it's Edom. And their purpose to that domination was to rule not only um, the land, right, and the natural resources of the land, but the people, right. So I want to go into this a little bit. I want to read this first part about Alexander. This first paragraph here. You can read the whole article if you want. It's nothing different than we already know about Alexander, but I wanted to read this first paragraph. It says Alexander the Great was an ancient Macedonian ruler and one of history's greatest military minds, who, as king of Macedonia and Persia, established the largest empire the ancient world had ever seen. By turns charismatic and ruthless, brilliant and power hungry, diplomatic and bloodthirsty, Alexander inspired such loyalty in his men they'd follow him anywhere and, if necessary, die in the process. So that's the point I want to touch on right here. Is this power hungry and bloodthirsty? That idea for Edom is not changed. Any Edomite, or I don't think there's one sole Edomite who's in power, right? But when you look at the nation of Edom as a whole, they rule in this way. They're power hungry, right? And they're bloodthirsty, and their whole goal is to rule over the whole world, right? And when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, the reason why they have that in them is because that was the promise, or that was the blessing that they should have received as the eldest son of Isaac, right? So let me go to this one right here. This is Genesis 27. I'm going to start at 25. It says, yep, it says, and he said, bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and did eat, and brought him wine, and he drank. So, as if you know the story, most brothers know the story. Sorry. Excuse me. Most people know this. Most brothers know the story, but if anybody's watching that doesn't know the story, Jacob and Esau were brothers, right? Jacob, being the one who would ultimately receive the blessing, supplanted his brother Esau with the help of his mother, and in so many ways took the birthright from Esau, right? And so what happened was his mother put skins on him that was hairy, and then put Esau's clothes on Jacob. And Isaac, being blind at this time, didn't know which son was which. And so mistakenly, or not mistakenly, because it was all the will of the Father, gave the blessing to Jacob, right? So I'll continue on. It says, and his father Isaac said unto him, come near now and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, see, the smell of my son is the smell of a field which the Lord hath blessed. Therefore the Most High give thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, right? And plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be every one that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. Right. So that was the blessing that Jacob received that Esau wanted. Right. Well, that's world domination, right? Fatness of the earth, plenty of corn and wine, which is crops, right? People serve thee, nations bow down to thee, right? You be lord over your brethren, right? That was the blessing that should have went to Esau, but it went to Jacob, right? And when I say should have, I'm speaking in I guess paternal terms, right? When you're when you're a ruler over a certain amount of goods, right? You something just came to me. I want to write this down because this is another topic that I'm thinking about here. All right. I lost my train of thought there, but it's okay. I'm gonna read the scripture again. Right? It says, "Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be lord over thy brethren." Right? So that's world domination. So when you see this Edomite rule, and they rule with an iron fist, if you will, they're doing so because they want to take back what really belongs to them. And well, that's what I was getting at. When I say that belongs, I'm speaking in paternal terms because it was when you're a ruler over something, you pass it down to your oldest son, right? So Esau being the firstborn, he should have received this blessing. So when I say should have, that's what I mean. But we know that it was all deemed in the spirit, right? As it says in the New Testament, it talks about us being predestined, right? So even before, or even in Romans 9 and 11, even before the children were born, it was decided who was going to be the ruler of the world, right? I wanted to read something else too about world domination. This is from Wikipedia. It says, world domination, also called global domination or world conquest or cosmocracy, is a hypothetical power structure either achieved uh, or aspired to, in which a single political authority holds the power over all or virtually all the inhabitants of Earth. Various individuals or regimes have tried to achieve this goal throughout history without ever attaining it. The theme has been often used in works of fiction, particularly in political fiction, as well as in conspiracy theories, which may posit that some person or group has already secretly achieved this goal, and they have. They have. At this point in 2022, it's not a secret. It's, it's, it's not, it says secretly achieved, but it's obvious who rules the world. As we always say, follow the money. Who controls the money? No matter what color the currency is, and no matter what face is on it, all money is ruled by the Edomites. So they did this, man. And they make another point. Is it here? Or what was I reading? Yeah, it's down here. They make another point that I'll read a little bit of this, but I want to get to this real quick. It talks about how English is the official language in many countries, right? Even when you Elder Apostle Tahar pointed this out years ago. When you when you when you're becoming a pilot, you have to learn English. So that's a tall tale sign of who's in rulership, man. Because what pilots fly all over the world, right? So for them to have to learn English to become a pilot, that's a tall tale sign of who's in rule, right? So I'll read a little bit of this, I'll get into some scriptures. It says, while various empires over the course of history have been able to expand and dominate large parts of the world, none have come close to conquering all the territory on Earth. However, these empires have had a global impact in cultural and economic terms that is still felt in some of the largest and more prominent empires. Economic terms that is still felt today. Some of the largest and more prominent empires include, right, the Mongolian Empire, the British Empire, the Russian Empire, and they just went really more recent, right? But they left out, again, the empires that I mentioned, the Babylonian, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Grecian Empire, so forth and so on, right? And when you delve in, I won't do that here, but when you dive in, right, to what that rulership is, what did they rule? They ruled not only the currency, but they ruled the people, right? They had slaves, right? They ruled trade routes, which they talk about a little bit here with the Mongolian Empire and the Silk Road, right? That was a trade route. So if you imagine this, if you have control over a trade route, that means all trade is controlled by you, right? When you go into um I'm trying to erase the thought of this circular definition I gave. When you rule a trade route, you rule over the trade. But what I'm trying to say is, if you can control the trade route, all that business, right, all that traffic comes to you, right? When you look at all the ships that are in the ocean that are bringing different cargo to different continents, that those things are controlled by somebody. That business, those transactions get sent to someone or a nation of people or the people in rule. It's not just these arbitrary things. Hey, I'll give you this, you give me that. No, somebody's in control of the over those waters, over those ships, over those, even the metal boxes that the cargo is kept in. Somebody's making money off of all of that, right? And it's the rulers of this world, right? So okay, again, you can go back and read this. It's a lot of information in here. But I just wanted to hit that quick point. But and I want to read this one more thing in scripture here. This is Matthew's 22 and 21. Actually, let me jump up a little bit. This is, I'll start at 17. It says, "Tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not?" Right? But Yahushua perceived their wickedness and said, "Why tempt ye me, ye hypocrites? Show me the tribute money." And they brought unto him a penny. And he saith unto them, "Whose is this image and superscription?" They say unto him, "Caesar's." Then saith he unto them, "Render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto the Most High the things are the Most High's." Right. So I read that to express, when you in control over the money, right? You pay tribute with that money, right? You pay tax, so to speak, right? And those types of things are going to happen with us, right? Just like even in the law, you had to give a tenth part to the priest, right? And that's a tax of sorts, right? And righteousness, of course. So all of these lands, all right, all of these people, we're going to have the best of those things, which is a tax, right? In the same way that Caesar ruled, right, and he wanted his tribute money, is the same way was just going to happen with us. We'll have the best of the best, if you will, right? So let's talk about a little bit of that. I was going to read this to show how Ahasuerus ruled over the 127 provinces, but I'll get into some of these other scriptures I got written down over here. So let's go to Isaiah 60. I'll just jump right down to the point. It says, this is Isaiah 60 and 5. It says, "Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee." Right? So we know the abundance of the sea meaning people, right? The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee, right? And I was going to say what those things are. "The multitude of camels shall cover thee, the dromedaries of Midian and Ephah. All they of Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Lord. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee. The rams of Nebajoth shall minister unto thee. They shall come up with acceptance on mine altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. Who are these that fly as a cloud and as the doves to their windows? So as you see, a lot of these nations are going to be bringing things unto us. Right? What is that? And I think it's Ezekiel 39. Let me see. Continual employment. I think that's Ezekiel 39. Yep. Ezekiel 39 and 14, it says, and they shall sever out men of continual employment, passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth, to cleanse it. After the end of 7 months shall they search. Right? So continual employment, what is that? Right? Employment is nothing more than slavery. So we'll have slaves. Right? Let me see what this word employment give me. Just more for continuity, perpetuity, meaning forever, right? But I wanted to let's go into the word employment and see what we get. That's spell it right? I think so. Employment definition. Oops. Right. The condition of having paid work, right? The action of giving work to someone, right? Let's go. I'm gonna go to the etymology. Let's do it like this. Let's see. Online etymology dictionary. Here. Go to employment. The spending of money from employing. See employ. Mint. Let's see. Employ. Apply or devote something to some purpose. Expend or spend. Make use of, apply, increase, entangle, devote, enfold, involve. Right? That's interesting, right? Because if you think about this, right, it says to increase and entangle, to devote, and then mint. Let's go to mint, which I think is like mind. Mentum, which is added verb sentence nouns indicating the result product. French between the verbal root suffix. Oh, come on, man. If you get into it, right, that meant, this is like this is just like when you say mental, right? So if you go into the word employment, right? If employ means to entangle, and then mint the mind, right? So if or devote, right? So if someone's mind is devoted, right? What does that mean? Right? They're devoted to the rulership, right? All right, so let me keep going here. I got a couple more written down. Let's go to Isaiah 2. Isaiah 2, and I'll start at 1. It says, the word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountains of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, right? And shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, right? And the word of the Lord from Jerusalem, right? So the law is going to come from us, right? The people who administer the law are the rulers, right? Okay. You go here. What is that? I think that's Isaiah. Yeah, Isaiah 14:2, it says, "And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids," right? "And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors." You see? So that's really what Esau is fighting for, man. That he wants world domination so he can have slaves, so that he can be in control of the money and all the wealth, right? But all those things are coming to us. So that's it, man. Hopefully that was edifying. Just something I was thinking about. I want to give all praises always to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Dash. Double honors to the apostle and elders, a great millstone. Honor and salutations to the elect. And with that, I say shalom.